Lenny, if you could stop chewing on your paw, I'd love that.
Welcome to the Read-Through, where I read books and hold my friend Dani hostage while she listens to me tell her the plot. For our first episode, and for our first season, if you will, we are beginning with the Infernal Devices trilogy, which is the prequel to the Mortal Instruments series, which you have not read.
I have not. I have also not seen the movie that I know people don't like.
I know, which is insane. These books came out, I think I was in high school. So the original main series was originally supposed to be a trilogy. The original trilogy is the part that people are like, this was Harry Potter fan fiction.
Oh,
specifically,
of who?
So it's gonna be Ron and Ginny.
Oh. Oh. Okay. It's not one of the ones you hear about that often.
No. So those came out 2007 to 2009. As I was counting the books yesterday, and I think there's 15 books, because there's the 6 in the base series, and there's 3 trilogies, and she's releasing a final trilogy. And then there's also like 3 novellas, which I have not read.
Okay.
Anyway, so I reread the entire Shadowhunters universe at least once a year. That was what inspired this, because you haven't read this trilogy, and I have been asking you to read it.
Guys, I'm the slowest reader in the world. I love to read, but it takes me like 12 to 18 business days to finish a normal length book.
I was a huge fan of the Pizza Hut reading challenge, which you were homeschooled. Lore drop. Yeah. You were homeschooled, so you did not get to participate in that.
Would you get pizza?
You got like a card, and it was like if you read so many books, then like you would kind of check off for however many books, and then you could go to Pizza Hut and be like, here, I read all these books, and they'd be like, here's a free kids pizza.
I was not a Pizza Hut family.
Me neither, but only for the reading challenge.
Wow.
It's like we would only go to Pizza Hut.
You love a sticker.
Right. Anyway, long story long, I had been asking Dani to read this series, and she had it, and that's okay. But I do need to talk about it. So when we decided to do this podcast, I was like, I have an idea for our first series. Before we get into this, one thing to know about me is that I famously hate love triangles.
And I love them.
I hate them. They never pick the one that I want.
I'm team Edward and Jacob should kiss.
If the boyfriends are gonna be boyfriends, okay. My beef with triangle is a triangle, famously, due to the name triangle, has 3 sides.
And all of them should be touching.
Right, hence the name triangle. That being said, due to my, as you can see, intense hatred of love triangles, this is the only non-touching love triangle that I will accept.
Okay. What about it is acceptable to you?
So you'll have to find out. I actually can't tell you why, because it is a major spoiler. And you're not going to find it out in this book. That's actually... Stay tuned.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Alright, so, setting the scene, we first open in Victorian London, April 1878. We open with our 2 boys. We have Will Herondale and we have Jem Carstairs, right? We open...
Carstairs?
Carstairs.
So that's just 3 things. That's just Jem Carstairs.
Right. So one thing about Cassandra Clare is that the names, you're just going to have to accept the name.
Okay.
You're just going to have to accept it.
I understand. I'm opening my heart.
Mm-hmm. In this opening thing, we also get our first character description, and this is of Jem. He is super pale, has silver hair, and silver eyes. Will is also established as kind of a bad boy, but...
In what way?
Just kind of the way he talks. He's very devil-may-care kind of boy, but very protective of Jem. Jem is also Jem, Jem.
Okay.
It's short for, I think, James.
All right. Are they in love?
We'll get into it.
Okay.
Next scene, we have Southampton, which is also England. And we are introduced to our 3rd main character, who is kind of the main character of the book. We have Tessa.
Okay.
Tessa Gray.
Not Tessa.
Her name is... Why?
I'm just thinking of the After movies.
Tessa, it's short for Teresa.
So is Tessa in the After films, famously.
Oh. Well, so we open to Tessa. She is originally from New York City. She has come over to England on a boat. And
I did that once.
Because her brother had been working in London for a bit. Their aunt who raised them died. So then he sends her a letter being like, hey, come live with me in London because I have a good job. So she goes...
Okay.
Right.
I guess.
She goes to London. She's like, well, I had to sell all of my shit, but that's okay because my brother Nate will buy things for me, and that's fine. She shows up. Nate's not there. But then some people who were like, hey, no worries. We are his coworkers. Like, we're from his company. He sent us here.
Okay.
And one thing that's insane is the way that they prove to her that this is legit is they show her a letter that was written by him, and she's like, oh, well, this is his handwriting. Do you know people's handwriting?
No.
No.
But maybe in Victorian England...
That's all they had to go on.
Listen.
Like, this is such a
If someone was
common...
like, Milena wrote this text and showed it to me, I do feel that I could be like, no, she didn't. That's not her voice.
Right.
So maybe it's the equivalent?
Yeah.
Feels a little bit like not enough to go on,
well,
I think.
She's also like, no one else calls me Tessie except for him.
Thank God for that.
So she goes with these people. It's two women, two like weird women.
I do feel like if it was women, I would just trust them.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was two older women and then like a carriage driver. So 6 weeks later, Tessa has been imprisoned in a mansion and tortured for 6 weeks by these women.
Okay. They just sort of jump, they say, and by the way,
yeah.
They just jump there. All right.
Yeah, so these women are known as the Dark Sisters, right? Okay. Because their last names are Dark.
Okay.
Actually, that's not even true. One of them, her last name is Dark, and one of them, her last name is Black.
Okay.
Whatever. So Tessa has been in this mansion. The mansion is really disgusting and falling apart. We were just talking about mold. The house, the words hot and wet are used to describe...
Two of my least favorite words
are used to describe this house. Okay. So over the course of 6 weeks, Tessa is tortured because essentially she finds out that she has this ability to shapeshift.
Okay.
She didn't know that.
Okay.
But the Dark Sisters did.
All right.
And they basically are like, well, we have your brother, and if you don't comply, then we're gonna kill him. And the way that they show that is a ring that's like of his that has blood on it. And they're like, see?
Sure.
So,
likely story. Okay.
They teach her how to do it, but like it's a very forceful
so they're like, by complying they mean turn into a rat right now.
She can shapeshift into other people, and the way that she does it is she has to like hold something of theirs, and she can shapeshift into people.
So she turns into her brother.
No, they don't let her touch the ring.
Interesting.
But
wonder why.
So they give her various items and make her shapeshift into people, and all of them were murder victims. When she shapeshifts into them, she can see their memories.
Okay.
And things like that.
So she's kind of becoming them.
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, like she can like really imitate them.
She's like wearing their skin. Okay.
There was one instance where she shifts into a young girl who was stabbed, but then manages to run off and then was being chased by a demon. And the Dark Sisters were like, how did you die? And the girl, she's kind of wearing this little girl, and you know, the little girl's like speaking through her. They were like, we were just curious about what happened to her. After those 6 weeks, they're like, okay, you're doing a really good job. We think that you're ready to meet the Magister. And she's like, so who's that? And they're like, don't worry about it. He's gonna be really proud of us for all that we've done for him by teaching you how to do this.
Okay. They
tell the sort of live-in maid, Miranda, who Miranda is strange. Shout out to anyone named Miranda. Sorry if you're strange. Tessa is with Miranda, and she's like, hey Miranda, who's the Magister? What do they mean? And she's like, so I can't tell you who the Magister is, but you are actually going to be getting married to him.
Oh, fun.
Tessa is like, obviously, absolutely not. She tries to escape.
Just kill the brother. Just kill him. Just take him.
She tries to escape unsuccessfully. They catch her pretty much immediately. She's tied to the bed, and she's like...
Aren't these YA books?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but YA is like 13 to 18.
I know.
And I mean, Tessa, she's 17.
Okay.
Anyway.
Obviously, the age of consent to get tied to the bed.
Yeah, so she's being tied to the bed, and she's like, great, amazing, this is perfect.
Yeah.
Loving this so much. She realizes, wait, I can just shift into that little girl. So she shifts into the little girl, and now the ropes are like too small.
Okay.
Or too big, rather. So she can
shift into anyone after she's done it once?
Yeah, so once she's done it once, she can just kind of remember how to do it. So then she's like, what's my plan of attack? Because the door is locked from the outside. She's not really going anywhere, but somebody breaks into her room. And who is it but Will Herondale?
Oh, okay.
So we get a character description of Will Herondale.
Oh my god, I'm ready.
So it's a boy her age with tattoos. And because remember, this is Victorian era, so she's like, oh my god, he has tattoos.
A real bad boy.
He has tattoos. This is a direct quote.
Okay.
His character description is the most beautiful face she had ever seen. Tangled black hair and eyes like blue glass. Even the curve of his throat was perfect. He looked like every fictional hero she'd ever conjured up in her head.
Hot.
So she's just been tied to a bed. This man breaks in.
Is she still a little girl in this moment?
No.
Just checking.
No, but then at first she's like, is he the Magister? And she's like,
wait, why was I trying to escape?
But then she's like, wait, somebody who looks like this would actually not have to force somebody in that way to marry them. So clearly this is not the Magister. We have a lot of banter. Obviously, I was kicking my feet, screaming when I was in high school. And honestly, now.
Yeah, that's okay.
So he is like, okay, I'm here to break you out. I didn't know you were going to be here. I came to this house for a different reason, but I can see that you're here, so I'm gonna take you out. And she's like, did my brother send you? And he was like, I don't know who your brother is. She was like,
I don't care. I don't know who that man is.
Right.
Sorry
because
to that
at this point she's like, well, he is in this house somewhere because that's what they've told me.
Yes.
In their breakout session, there's like a lot of dramatic fighting. Will kills one of the Dark sisters. He beheads her.
Sick.
They also, as they're leaving, they see a room full of just bodies. And also, like, cogs and gears.
Oh, does this book get, like, steampunky?
So I do actually think that I never said the title of this book. The title of this book is Clockwork Angel.
So
yes.
We are getting steampunky. Well, I feel like the steampunk community is exclusively obsessed with Victorian England, which I don't really know why that's the case. I don't know enough about steampunk to know why. Industrial Revolution?
Maybe. I'm not very familiar with steampunk, to be honest.
We'll move on from that, but
Yeah.
Got it. There's machinery involved.
Something that I did forget is Tessa had, in her first attempt to escape, she hit Miranda, and she hit her just, like, with a hard...
Wait, the maid that was kind of weird but nice, maybe? Wait, was she nice?
She wasn't anything. Tessa had hit her.
Okay.
And her head caved in.
Oh!
But there was no blood. But Tessa didn't really think it. She was just like, she was just
that's
like,
weird.
Oh, and then she just kind of moved on.
Okay.
From that.
Right, she had bigger problems at the time.
So we have that, and then we have the bodies in the basement, along with all of the gears and cogs and knives and things.
Okay.
They're just like, what the fuck? They get out of there. Tessa faints. Because one thing about Cassandra Clare is she loves to transition scenes by having the main character faint.
It's like a natural fade to black.
It is, right.
Maybe all of her characters just have pots.
Well, Tessa, I think, got hit in the head. In the main series, it is a lot of just, like, swooning. And
you know what? I love to swoon.
And it is a little bit excessive.
I've never swooned to myself into fainting, but, you know.
Exactly. So we transition to being in the Institute. Basically, the gist of the Shadowhunters, that all you need to know for now, is that their thing is that they hunt demons. That's really the gist of it. Like, the shadow world that humans can't see.
They're hunting.
Thus, shadow hunters. The tattoos that he had are called marks, and they can, like, bestow different...
they're functional.
Different things are like runes.
Okay, I get it. My tattoos are functional too. They all make me feel cool.
So we are introduced to Charlotte Branwell, who runs the Institute. She's kind of described Tessa's like, this girl's kind of ugly.
Okay, damn.
Tessa's also like, whoa, this woman also has tattoos. That's kind of crazy.
And all this tattoo representation.
Mm-hmm. So she's at the Institute. She's spending more time there, and she learns that the Dark Sisters were involved in what is called the Pandemonium Club.
Okay.
Which is basically this sort of, you know how the Victorians were like obsessed with occult stuff?
Yeah.
It's like that, but for humans, which in this world are called mundanes.
Okay, kind of rude.
They deal with warlocks, who in this universe are called downworlders. So downworlders include warlocks, werewolves, vampires, and fairies.
Can I get a definition on what a warlock even is in this universe?
In this universe, a warlock is the result of a demon and a human reproducing.
But do they have like witchy powers?
They do.
Okay.
Warlocks usually have some kind of tell that shows that they are a warlock, so they'll have something with their eyes or their skin color or like have a tail or whatever. They'll have something to show that they are other. But at this point in time, kind of throughout the whole universe, there is a very tenuous relationship between the Shadowhunters and the Downworlders.
Okay.
Shadowhunters, they're the top.
Are Shadowhunters humans? mundanes.
They're called, and there's no pronunciation guide, so I am just gonna...
We're just gonna do it. Whatever you say is right to me.
They are called Nephilim.
Nephilim.
Nephilim. Basically, there's like a lineage going back to the first Shadowhunter, which his name was Jonathan Shadowhunter.
Okay.
That is his last name. Surname... Okay. Shadowhunter, right?
Sure.
This is off the dome right here that I'm giving you. So I might get a couple details wrong. But basically, Jonathan Shadowhunter...
What did that boy do?
He worked together with one of the archangels, Raziel, and he drank from the mortal cup and was then turned into basically this... like an enhanced version of a human. So they're really strong, they're really fast, they can heal really well. Your eyes are like watering from laughing.
I'm just thinking about Edward Cullen now. It's fine.
That was kind of how this kind of race of humans with angel blood in them.
Okay.
That's basically the long story.
Okay, so Mr. Shadowhunter had some angel blood in him.
And he was just like, I'm gonna name them all Shadowhunters after me.
Sure.
Anyway.
Imagine if his last name was something else. What would he have done?
So the Shadowhunters are at the top in this world, and there is a lot of racism against the Downworlders. They're seen as not deserving of the same rights as Shadowhunters. There has been a lot of like Shadowhunters hunting these creatures down, like werewolves, vampires, for just existing. So at this point in time, there is very tenuous agreement to stop doing that. But Shadowhunters generally in this world still are pretty prejudiced. So anyway, the Dark Sisters were involved with the Pandemonium Club, and then we also...
But were they magical?
They were warlocks. One of them you could tell because she had like talon hands, and then I don't really remember what the other woman's deal was.
Why were they in like a club for the occult? Like that feels like something that mundanes would do.
Because it was basically a cult led by this man, the Magister, and they wanted to appease him, to please him. In the same way any cult would. In learning all of this, we also learned that Tessa's brother, Nate, had a really bad gambling addiction, was generally an idiot.
Likely story.
And when they tell Tessa about the Pandemonium Club, and they're like, yeah, there's different levels to involvement, but ultimately they mostly operate out of gambling dens and brothels, she was like, my brother was definitely there. He definitely got involved in that. More time being spent at the Institute, Will starts acting kind of weird towards her. He is sometimes rude, sometimes nice, sometimes standoffish.
So she's just chilling there now?
Yeah, she's there because they were like, well, you have nowhere to go.
And she has a concussion.
Yeah.
So she has to recover.
They were like, you have nowhere to go, so we're just gonna let you be here, and also you're clearly not a mundane because you can shapeshift. But as I said, warlocks like usually have a mark that tells that they're not fully human.
Yeah.
She doesn't have any kind of marker like that. And they're like, so we don't really know what your deal is, but you're legally allowed to be here, and also you're kind of a part of this investigation now into the Pandemonium Club.
Okay. So she really is just...
During this time, Will, he's like very melodramatic, but she's like, he's troubled. He's also so hot. Obviously, I ate this up, right?
Yeah,
a troubled man. Tessa also ate this up.
What's the living situation like at the Institute? Are we talking dorms?
It's really big, and everyone has their own...
like, room.
Everyone has their own room, because basically the function of an institute is they have institutes in cities all over the world, and even though Charlotte runs the institute, she doesn't own it.
Mm-hmm.
It's run by the Shadowhunter government.
Okay.
Any Shadowhunter who's in London can
stay there.
Yeah. So all of the institutes are really big.
Okay. So she has her own room. Like, how close is her room to Will's room?
I don't actually know how close it is to Will's room, but it's not far.
So it's kind of like a dorm or a hotel.
I guess so. There is also a moment where Tessa and Will are talking, and she's like just really wrapping her head around the concept of like women being shadow hunters. Because...
Right, we're in Victorian England.
Right, okay. And also because, you know, there's fighting involved. And
Yeah.
she's like, do women even, I didn't even know that women like were into fighting like that. And Will tells her the Shadowhunters live in the time periods and places that they live, but they don't engage with society really at all.
Okay.
They are very closed off. A lot of times when they're walking around places, they have a rune on where people can't see them.
Okay. So they're like basically
A glamour. They see themselves as like the protectors of mundane society, but they consider themselves like completely separate.
Okay.
They're not involved in that at all. So because of that, a lot of the like cultural norms from that period, they don't translate to Shadowhunters. So a lot of like a big thing is they're like, we use first names, right? Because that's a whole thing in the Victorian era was the Christian names, where it was seen as more intimate to use someone's first name, especially if it was like a man and a woman.
I did not know of that.
Yeah.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
It's seen as a level of familiarity with somebody.
Okay.
So that's the whole thing where he's like, please call me Will. And she's like, Will. And he's like, Tessa. Right? Right.
Okay.
Right.
Love.
So things like that. She's like, I didn't know that women ever really were into fighting like that. And he tells her about the figure of I think it can be pronounced Boadicea or Boudica. Do you know who that is?
I actually do.
For people who don't know, for British history / mythology, she is a powerful warrior queen. Basically, she poisoned herself rather than let herself be captured by the Romans. So Will is telling her the story to be like, women can do it too, even in mythology and history.
Wait, is that supposed to be inspiring?
Yes.
Like women can die too?
Yes.
From trauma?
No, it's like the warrior queen aspect, right? But Tessa really latches on to the self-sacrifice part of it.
I would too. I feel like the thing I'm gaining from that story is him being like, and women can die for the cause too. Not like, and women can fight.
Yeah. Going back to the rooming situation, Tessa is awoken by the sound of a violin from the room across from her. And that is when she meets Jem Carstairs.
Oh my god, Jem Carstairs!
Jem Carstairs. She hadn't really interacted with him during her time at the Institute so far because he was sick. They were just like, Jem is very sick.
He had a cold or like what was going on?
Can't. So they're talking, and one thing about Tessa is she'll ask questions, which feels very reasonable, and every single time she asks a question, if it's either Will or Jem, they'll always be like, you really ask a lot of questions.
Okay. Why are these men trying to silence women?
What happened to being curious and wanting to learn more? But then also Jem just out of the blue goes, your parents are dead too, right?
Oh, okay.
So we kind of established that all of the other people there are orphans outside of the people who run it.
Okay.
Which is Charlotte and her husband Henry, who is just like autistic coded king.
Okay. Is the Shadowhunter gene passed down genetically?
Yeah, so the Shadowhunter gene is dominant.
So they're all gonna die then?
What do you mean?
If everyone's parents are dead, then it's like, do all the Shadowhunters just die young right after they pop out a couple kids?
They do tend to die pretty young.
Okay.
They just
good to know.
Due to like the hazard of like an occupational hazard.
Sure. It's like the Dauntless in Divergent.
Exactly. So Tessa is hanging out with Jem and is also like, I think Will is mad at me. He's kind of acting really weird towards me, and he's like, Will is mad at everyone all the time.
Okay.
That's just his thing. So we do establish Will as a volatile figure. Will comes in later.
Okay.
He's acting like, I am drunk, whatever. But then Jem starts coughing blood. And Will is like, Tessa, you need to get out. Please. Also, don't tell Charlotte about this.
Okay.
It's fine. And then Jem is fine the next morning. So we have one of our final characters in this institute. We have Jessamine. Jessamine just wants to be a society lady. Her story is that she was raised by parents who used to be Shadowhunters, but they had left. They did not want to be a part of that life. They were raised in society, whatever. Mm-hmm. But then they died when Jessamine was a kid. And since you are a Shadowhunter first, the Shadowhunters came and took her and brought her to the Institute.
No, she doesn't want to be there.
She wants to be a trad wife. That's what she wants.
Okay.
So she decides, like, Tessa, you're my new best friend. Let's go walk around the town. She buys her a new wardrobe. They have a Bridgerton moment where they're on the promenade. She's telling her about all the gossip. She's, like, saying racist things about Jem. And also Will, because Will is Welsh.
Okay.
Jesse's like, well, I'm really rich, so I just need to find a mundane man who can take me out of here. I don't want to be a part of this life. That's not who I am, whatever.
Okay. Okay.
They wander off the path and encounter a fairy, and then Jessamine absolutely destroys him to smithereens with her parasol weapon.
Oh, okay. So,
And then she, freaks out that her instinct was to do that.
right. So are fairies evil?
They're fairies like the fae folk, like the fair folk.
Okay.
They're not fairies like romantasy fairies. They're
Right.
generally, their first instinct is to kill people who wander off the path. So separately, Henry and Charlotte, they are the adults, but they are also, I think, like 23.
Right. It sounds like the Shadowhunters are not living very long
There
at all.
are older people, it just not at this institute.
Sure. Okay. Because I guess it's like college vibes.
Yeah, so they're on the case about Tessa's brother because they still don't know where he is because she was like, well, he's not at the house.
Mm-hmm.
And he probably got himself involved in this Pandemonium Club situation.
Oh, and I guess the assumption is that he's
and
also a Shadowhunter or something?
They don't know at this point. So they go to his employer, which his thing is basically just like manufacturing machinery. He doesn't know where Tessa's brother is, but he's like, I actually knew their dad because their dad used to live in London and then moved over to the US. So he's like, that's why I hired Nate, but that Nate already knew about the Pandemonium Club when he got there.
Okay.
And then asked his boss, was like, hey, can you get me in? And he did, and he got a job from someone there, and I haven't really seen him since. They also later find out that the head of the London vampire clan is sometimes called the Magister.
Oh my god.
And then also Jem and Will are kind of on a side quest. They go back to the house that Tessa was being kept at. It's empty now, except Miranda, the girl that Tessa had caved her head in.
Yeah.
She has some message. She's just like, beware, Shadowhunters.
Is Tessa there?
No.
Okay. So Tessa can't
No,
be like,
Tessa's-
I thought that girl was
No,
dead.
Tessa's with Jessamine.
Oh, still.
This is
Okay.
kind of like
Yeah.
all happening at once.
Okay.
Tessa's with Jessamine, Henry and Charlotte are at Nate's work, Will and Jem.
Is this like a multi-POV book?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
We mostly are inside Tessa's head at this point, and sometimes Will, but mostly just Tessa. Anyway, so they take it back to Henry, because Henry, his special interest is inventing things. So
Sure.
they're like, Henry is gonna know, because they're like, oh, Miranda's a machine. She's an automaton.
Okay.
Which the Victorians love. And sure enough, her heart is a machine thing. They show it to Tessa and they kind of give her the rundown. And she's like, oh my god, if Miranda's a machine, then there were definitely other people at that house who looked like Miranda, but I thought they were just all related.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they all looked like that.
Yeah.
But she's like, oh no, I think that
Do they look like robots and Tessa's just stupid? Or do they just look like
No,
people?
no, they have human skin.
Mm.
Miranda was described as having like kind of always looking surprised. Like kind of
Okay.
like bug eyes.
Okay.
A little bit.
Scary.
Yeah, so that's kind of the rundown of where we're at right now. And then they go to meet with Lady Belcourt.
Okay.
She's a vampire. She's really old. She's not necessarily good or bad. She has her own reasons for doing things.
Morally gray.
Tessa really wants to meet her because she's the first downworlder besides the Dark Sisters that I've ever met. Because again, they're operating
Right.
under the assumption
That
that
Tessa
she is a
downworlder.
warlock.
So are they being racist to her inside the Institute?
Jessamine is racist against downworlders, but the rest of them are like, no, we're not like that. But generally, when she's talked to some other Shadowhunters that she's interacted with, she has to deal with like microaggression, basically.
And also maybe
So-
overhearing some stuff because they don't clock her as a warlock right away, right?
Right, also that. Anyway, so they're meeting with Lady Belcourt, and she reveals that De Quincey, who we have now established is the head of the London clan, and he is nicknamed the Magister. He had also been the signatory for the vampires for the Accords, the tenuous peace agreement that I was talking about earlier.
Okay.
So they're all blown away because they were like, we thought that he was an ally and was really into peace. Lady Belcourt is like, absolutely not. He is being fake.
So it was performative.
He actually wants all of you dead. She is not a member of the Pandemonium Club. She has been there, and she has seen Nate, Tessa's brother, there, which is not a surprise to anyone. She reveals that De Quincey has parties where he tortures humans and then throws their bodies in the river. And Will is like, that's illegal. He can't do that.
Thank you, Will.
Life imitates art. Lady Lady Belcourt is like, well, he's doing it. Because of the Accords, though, the Shadowhunters can't do anything about having this information. They have to actually see him commit.
Oh my god, life really does imitate
Well,
art.
that's what was happening before, is basically they would just be like, well, I'm gonna kill this downworlder because I think that they must have done something bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's why they get away with killing them.
Okay.
And now they have to actually catch them committing a crime. They can't just kill them on assumption.
Sure.
They're like, well, we're not gonna get to do that because there's no shot a shadow hunter is gonna be allowed in this place. They make a plan to have Tessa shift into Camille, which is her first name, Lady Belcourt. Camille.
Okay.
They have the plan to have Tessa shift into her and have Will be there as her subjugate, because Will has actually been there before pretending to be a human just to get intel, so he's participated in the gambling and all of that. So
he's a bad boy.
Right. So Tessa is going to be Lady Belcourt and Will is going to be there so that they'll be able to witness this. And then the plan is that other shadow hunters would be kind of on standby, waiting for a signal.
Like a SWAT team
from...
sitch.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Damn, so Shadowhunters are kind of like cops?
Yes, they are unfortunately cops.
Okay.
Low-key. So this is also where we start to see, I don't want to say the love triangle is starting to begin, but Tessa and Jem have a little bit of a moment where Jem kind of talks Tessa down from a panic attack. Tessa looks over at Will and all she says that he has an unreadable expression.
So nothing's happened between her and Will.
Nothing has happened, just a lot of like heated looks, but then and like weird interactions.
Okay.
So Jem and Will, they walk Lady Belcourt out and she admits to them, because they're like, what is your motivation to doing this? We know you're not doing this out of the goodness of your heart.
Mm-hmm.
And she says that the reason that she's selling out De Quincy, which De Quincy is his first name, I believe. Like D-E and then Quincy.
My heart is open.
I'm pretty sure De Quincy is his first name. I could be wrong, but I'm
pretty sure. Do we get a last name?
I don't think so. I think he's just called De
just
Quincy.
Like Cher. Okay.
First name
De Quincy.
First name D, last name Quincy.
Sure.
So anyway, she's selling him out because she was in love with a werewolf. And
sexy.
The werewolves and vampires in this universe are not allowed to be together romantically.
Says who?
And they also generally don't get along, but says like downworlder rules. In this world, the way that vampires and werewolves were both created was also by a demon. The demons who created vampires and werewolves, they hated each other. So that kind of feud spread throughout the bloodlines. That's why werewolves and vampires in this universe are like natural enemies.
Okay.
But that's neither here nor there. She was in love with a werewolf and De Quincy had him killed for that reason.
Okay.
I want him dead, and I also want all of the vampires involved that aided and abetted him dead.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a fuck. Plan is underway. They're kind of training Tessa because she has to learn how to like convincingly be Lady Belcourt. This is her first time really.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she's shapeshifted before, but
like
this is her
needing
first
to like
time
do
like
it.
putting it in action.
Yeah.
We get some more Tessa and Will where they're talking about A Tale of Two Cities, which, okay, as somebody who reads a lot of books, even as somebody who has reread books many times, I'm never like, can you recite lines from Twilight?
Like from the like one-off sentences.
No,
sure.
from the books.
Like one-off sentences.
But passages?
No.
Tessa and Will both do this. Often.
Okay.
Often.
Often? Yeah, but they're both fucking
because
freaks.
they both like books.
They both love books.
They both like books, but
it's
I'm
their
like
special interest.
But I'm like, you know what? I don't know what the Victorians were doing. So maybe this was
their memories were way better than ours.
Yeah.
And their attention spans were better.
Right, exactly. So they're talking about the love story in A Tale of Two Cities. I've never read it. Have you? So there is a love story in it, apparently. And Will says he loved her enough to know she was better off without him. Much to think about. They're 17.
Yeah, that is such a 17-year-old boy thing to say. I'm pretty sure a high school boyfriend has told me that.
Yeah.
Been like, you're too good for me. Like, I should let you go because you're better off without me.
At this point, too, the context of this conversation is they're just talking about the book. They're not even talking about feelings for each other.
Yeah.
They're talking about the book, and they're talking about a character in the book, and then he says this, and then they're like, whoa, like tension.
Okay. Put the killing thing between your teeth. Okay.
They go to the party. Tessa is able to navigate the party because she can, hear Lady Belcourt's thoughts. It's unclear because all of the other people so far that she changed into were dead. It's unclear if Lady Belcourt knows that she's doing this.
Right, like if they have like a psychic connection
Yeah, this
now.
never really gets addressed, I don't think, because Tessa is talking to various people and she hears Lady Belcourt being like, no, don't do that, like reacting to things.
So then, yeah, presumably, yeah.
That is something that I don't believe we ever get answers to, but because she's able to get a quick rundown of memories of different people, she's able to act normal. They're also assisted by their contact at this party, who is Lady Belcourt's current lover, Warlock Magnus Bane. Magnus Bane is, I believe, in every single book in the series.
Oh.
Magnus is a major character.
Okay.
In all of them.
Wait, is he human?
He's a warlock.
Okay, so that's why he's still alive in the future. Okay.
Yeah, I think at this point he's already really old.
All right.
It's kind of unclear how old.
Do shadow hunters live a long time? Well, I guess they don't because they keep dying naturally.
I don't know that naturally they have a longer lifespan.
Okay.
So at this party, they uncover that the Pandemonium Club is planning to infuse the automatons with demon energy to basically have a demon army that can't be killed by shadow hunters.
It's giving AI.
Because right now, the way that that shadow hunters kill demons is with their special swords, but if the demons are residing in the automatons, you can't kill them that way.
Because they can't get through the automaton, but that girl's head just like caved in so fast.
They haven't done it yet.
Okay.
It would basically be tying the demon's energy to the automatons would make the demons much harder to kill.
All right.
They wouldn't be able to just like get stabbed and then be sent back to hell.
Okay. So it is literally like those robot dogs that are guarding parking lots now.
Exactly. So the main event, aka the torturing of the party, begins, and the vampires bring out the person who's got a bag on his head, kind of classic. He's clearly...
so they're gathered to like torture someone very publicly.
Exactly. It's a room full, and it's all vampires mainly that are here.
Okay.
And they're like, this person is a traitor to and is being punished, had clearly been tortured. They lift the bag, and who is it? It's Nate. Tessa obviously freaks the fuck out.
Yeah.
She kind of blows their cover immediately.
Okay.
She is screaming, kind of forces Will's hand. The whole idea was, I think that the plan, if it wasn't Nate, was gonna be that they were just gonna watch this happen and not really care about the person.
Okay.
Because it was supposed to be like
they're gathering evidence.
The shadow hunters were gonna come in anyway, but it was gonna be more subtle and have like a element of surprise sneak attack, versus now Tessa has screamed at the top of her lungs, saying...
But it sounds like she didn't really mess up the plan too much if they were gonna come in anyway.
A little bit. It just kind of made it more chaotic.
Okay. Damn, they were really just gonna let some random person die?
Yeah, shadow hunters
don't care about the mortals.
Don't necessarily care about them like that. They're like, we're supposed to protect them, but they're also like, they kind of have it coming if they're at a place like this.
Okay.
Yeah. Tessa's screaming, Will, do it now. So he is using one of Henry's inventions, and Henry famously loves inventing things, but is kind of not great at them.
This is the autistic king?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But he's 23. He's gonna have time.
He's doing his best.
Whatever. So the signal, it was supposed to be a sort of switch thing that was supposed to turn all the lights off, and instead it made all of the light bulbs explode.
Oh,
which
sure.
then set the whole place on fire.
Okay.
And basically, in this world, vampires are really flammable. Like,
You know what? I think that's true in vampire lore in general. Because they're so old.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense.
Because, in Twilight... And in a lot of vampire lore, the way to kill a vampire is to burn the pieces of the body.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only way to make sure that they're dead.
Yeah.
But that they burn pretty easy. Sometimes they just kill each other by literally just throwing them into the fire.
Because Magnus is like, Tessa, be careful, because you're still in vampire form right now.
Oh.
So you need to be careful and get out of here.
It feels like, can't she just shift back? Does it take her a long time to shift?
She does eventually shift back, but no, it doesn't. It doesn't take her a long time to shift.
Okay, bad instincts on her part.
So the team outside, it takes them a second, but they're like, well, I guess this is our signal. They come in.
I guess since everything's on fire, we should go in.
A fight ensues. De Quincey escapes, but not before Will bites him, which you're not supposed to do, because if you consume vampire blood, then you start to become a vampire.
Oh.
And Will is like, well, they never expect it. And Jem is like, why the fuck would they expect you to do that?
Okay, hold on. So
Will and De Quincey get in in a fight, and Will bites DeQuincy.
And does it hurt DeQuincy?
Not, like, mortally, but it hurts him.
But does it hurt him just like if I were to bite your arm right now, it would hurt? Or
well,
does it,
Will,
like, more...
like, draws blood. He, like, fucks up his arm. He draws blood and then consumes some of the blood.
And what benefit does that serve him, other than it hurt his arm a little?
Nothing. I think they were just, like, in a tussle.
So it's, like, not a good move.
It was just character building, because it can harm Will.
Right. So Will's being dumb.
Yeah.
He said because they never expect it.
Yeah, he said because
there's a lot of things people don't expect that I choose not to do.
So Will and Jem are riding home together in the carriage. They have a conversation where Jem is like, I think Tessa is pretty, and I think you do too.
Sorry, this is happening after they just torched, like, a warehouse full of vampires?
Yeah, Shadowhunters, like, kind of don't care about...
So they're just, like, in the Uber home from the mass murder being like, do you also want to fuck this girl? Okay.
It's like Challengers a little bit. It's like the beginning of Challengers where they both know that they're into Zendaya. Tessa's brother is now at the Institute. He's freaked out, just like Tessa was, but he's also like, the Magister told me all about how dangerous the Shadowhunters are, that they're bad people.
Okay.
So we also have a character that I haven't mentioned. His name is Brother Enoch. And basically...
Oh, brother. Is he a monk?
Yeah, it's like a monk-like group where they were shadow hunters, but they don't speak. They speak telepathically. Their lips are sewn shut. They wear white robes. They're the healers kind of but they also hold all of the knowledge.
Okay.
It is like a monastic group.
Okay. And they're sanctioned by the shadow hunters?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like a very officially recognized
It
group.
is an officially recognized group, but they look very off-putting. Mm-hmm. So Nate is like, oh my god, these guys are monsters. As Nate is freaking out, Brother Enoch is telepathically talking to Tessa, and he's like, BTW, your brother is fully human. So do with that information what you will.
Interesting.
He's also like, I still don't know what you are. Don't worry, I'm still doing research to try to figure out why you're such a powerful warlock, but you're not marked like a warlock. Nate's like crashing out because he was given some vampire drug, so they sedate him, and he's knocked out for a while. I really don't want to reveal my bias about which of the two boys I like, but I feel like it is pretty clear at this point in time which one I am. Tessa and Jem have a moment of him like giving her a pep talk. It is very clear at this point that he is into her, but she's still like, this is my best friend Jem.
So he's kind of the Jacob to Will's Edward.
Kind of.
Which is interesting because I feel in my heart that you like Will more, but you are Team Jacob.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
At this point, still nothing has happened between Tessa and Will.
Okay.
Tessa runs into Sophie, who is one of the servants. She becomes a player later on in this book, which is why I haven't really mentioned her.
Okay.
But she's one of the servants. She's there. She's mundane, but she has the sight.
So she can see all the crazy shit going on.
But something that's really interesting is the idea of having mundane servants is not a thing in the rest of the universe. So I don't know if this bit of lore was just because it's a Victorian era book and Cassandra Clare was like, I need servants.
Yeah, there were.
But there are a few servants. There are a few servants here who, like, they're all mundanes. They just are allowed to be there.
Okay.
So whatever. Sophie's there. Sophie's like, I cannot deal with Will. He needs to drink these buckets. Tessa's like, I'll do it. The buckets are holy water that he has to drink because he consumed the vampire blood.
Oh, okay. I was like, why is she bringing him buckets of water?
So he has to drink all this holy water.
So it's like a bunch of Stanley Cups.
To like, to burn out the vampire
blood. Okay.
So Tessa goes to the attic, and here we get, like, a really hot torture.
Oh my god.
Will. He's, like, wet.
Sure, he's, like, sweating.
And then they make out. Yeah, they make out, but then...
She's like, I'm into this. I'm into you suffering.
It's very passionate, but then he suddenly pushes her away. And he's like, you need to leave. You can't be here. He's, like, on his knees begging her to leave.
Okay.
And so
because he doesn't want her to see him drinking the water and being like, oh, it's spicy. Is that why? Oh, we don't know. Okay.
So Tessa leaves, but later she's like, that was my first kiss. So later Tessa is going to check on Nate. He's still conked out. But Jessamine, if you remember her, she's there playing nurse. Because she's
Jessamine's like, that man. I want that man.
Human man. So she's like, hi, your brother is hot. Is he single? And Tessa is like, he's
a gambling addict and a loser.
Yeah, that's basically what she says. And Jessamine's like, I don't care.
Right, because she's rich. Aww.
She's like, I just need some
love.
Yeah,
she just
like,
needs a ticket out of there.
I just need a ticket out of there. She overhears Will being really mean and talking about her brother being an idiot, and also just being really mean about Henry and just being just overly mean. And Charlotte says, all I've ever done is love you, Will. And he says, yes, and I wish you wouldn't. They have a brother-sister relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. But, like, that's such a...
Very dramatic. Tessa starts arguing with Will, being like, I'm not gonna let you let Brother Enoch torture my brother for information, even if you think he's an idiot. She starts yelling at everyone in the room, basically being like, you guys are hypocrites. I know that even though you say that you're fine with downworlders, there's still all these microaggressions and all of that. So she's sulking outside, and Jem is like, let's go to my favorite place in the city. Get my mind off things.
Okay, where do they go?
They go to this bridge. It's just not even a nice special bridge. It's just a bridge.
Okay.
And Tessa's just trying to hold space for him. They're talking about Will, which most of her interactions with Jem are talking about Will.
He's so Jacob-coded.
But he loves Will. Mm-hmm. So their relationship, it's called parabatai.
No, it's not.
Parabatai. I don't
You're
know
joking.
how...
They have a butt tie to each other?
No, it's like Parabatai.
Okay.
Parabatai. It's some like Latin word. I don't know what it means. It's not it's not romantic at all.
Right.
It's like a soul tie. Like,
and it's not romantic?
No. It's an intentional thing. It's like, we will vow to protect each other to the death kind of thing. Okay. But it's an official ceremony that they have to do, and basically, like...
This is sounding pretty gay to me. I don't know.
If you get runes from your parabatai, it's stronger. A healing rune from your parabatai...
They should just kiss. Oh my god.
So... Okay. It's one of those, even though Will hates everyone, he's very protective of Jem, and Jem will forgive anything that Will does. It's very...
convenient, but also, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a gay thing, unfortunately. So, anyway, they talk about Will, and Jem reveals that he knows that when Will comes back, whenever he's like, oh my god, I was out on the town getting so drunk and I was at a brothel, etc., that Will is actually lying. Because there was one time that Will did that, and he, like, made up this story that he got, like, gin splashed on him, and Tessa was like, that's so weird because he doesn't smell like alcohol. Mm-hmm. Like, my brother was an alcoholic, and she was like, something's not adding up, but I'm not gonna push him on why he's doing that. Okay. And Jem was basically like, I also know that he's doing it, and that for whatever reason, he goes to great lengths to make himself look like a bad person. But I don't know why he does that, but I'm not gonna ask him.
But that's why. Your parabatai. That's your butt tie.
Yeah. And Tessa's like, okay, I personally would ask him, but whatever.
Sorry, your guys' souls are intertwined, and you can't be like, why are you pretending to be drunk right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jem also drops lore about Will, which I'm like, this is kind of insane of him to be doing this, but whatever. He dropped lore about Will, that Will is actually not an orphan, which Will had kind of insinuated. He kind of yelled at Tessa, being like, don't assume that I'm an orphan. His dad had left the Shadowhunters because he fell in love with a mundane girl, which isn't allowed. And the Clave would not make her a Shadowhunter, because sometimes a mundane can be a Shadowhunter. Okay. So when you leave, you're exiled, and you can't have any communication with any Shadowhunters, and the Clave will never help you if you're in danger. But as we know with Jessamine, they can still...
It's giving Scientology.
They can still lay claim to your children.
That is so fucked up.
So every 6 years, until the child is 18, a representative will come and speak to the child and ask if they want to come be a Shadowhunter. Mm-hmm. Will refused twice, but right after refusing the second time, when he was 12 years old, he one night just showed up at the Institute, which he was living in Wales. The Institute is in London, England, and was like, Charlotte, I have nowhere to go. Let me stay here. But then his parents came looking for him a few weeks later. Yeah. And Will refused to see them. So they were denied entry. Okay. And damn. Will not...
So he's really not an orphan.
And Will would not say what happened. So that is the lore with Will. Okay. About our torture.
And we're learning this at the weird mediocre bridge?
They're on the bridge. And while...
Does this connect to the bridge?
No, it's not relevant. Okay. They're just there. So while they're on the bridge, two people walk up to them. A woman, and then a man that Tessa recognizes from the house that she was kept at. Uh-oh. So now Tessa knows that he is an automaton. Mm-hmm. They say that they were sent by the Magister because he wants his property, aka Tessa, back, because remember, he was going to marry her. Yeah. And wants to declare war on the Shadowhunters after their attack on the London vampire clan the other night.
Right.
A fight ensues, and then they notice like a huge group of automatons coming their way. So they're like, oh my god, we gotta skedaddle back to the Institute. They're skedaddling back. Tessa is like, whoa, Jem seems really tired, even though I read in the book of all the information. Aren't they supposed to be able to run for like forever? But because of his mysterious illness. He is wiped. So he collapses on the steps of the Institute, but so Tessa can't get inside because she's not a shadow hunter.
Right.
Only the blood of a shadow hunter
Oh my god.
can get you in. And then one of the Clockwork creatures comes and attacks Jem and then waves at Tessa with bloody hands and then leaves. And Tessa's like, that's weird. At this point, the people inside must have heard the commotion and save everyone. Jem is not doing great. Will comes a little bit later, and he is acting really weird. Because at this point, this is post-makeout, right?
Right.
He's back to being really extra standoffish. So he comes, and he's like, Jem wants to talk to you. But then as soon as they get into Jem's room, Will is like, here she is! And then Jem is like, okay, I am going to tell you my lore now. And this is a direct quote from Tessa's inner monologue when Will leaves. She couldn't help it. A slight pang went through her, the way it always seemed to do when he left a room.
Okay.
She never thinks this about Jem, by the way.
No.
She never
Jem's
thinks
just her
this about Jem.
bestie.
So Jem, his parents were killed by a demon in Shanghai. Basically, his mom killed some demon's kids. The demon held a grudge, and then when he was 11, it tunneled into the Institute and held his family captive and tortured Jem in front of his parents.
Okay.
Which, again, you were like, is this a YA book? Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So the parents were both killed eventually, but basically his mysterious illness is that his body got addicted to the demon poison that the demon used on him.
Not the demon poison.
And if he goes without it, it causes him extreme pain. But since it's also poison, he will die.
It's killing him.
One day. He'll basically die really fast and painfully if he stops taking it.
Or he'll die really slowly.
Or he'll die slowly. But so the drug is what makes him really pale and what made his hair and eyes silver.
Okay.
And yeah, the reason why he got so sick and passed out was because usually when he knows that he's going to have to exert himself, he takes more of the drug. But he was like, I wasn't expecting
he was caught
to have to do
caught
all
off
of
guard.
that.
Okay.
So he hadn't
That
taken...
feels like he's a shadow hunter. Isn't he probably in unexpectedly dangerous situations quite a lot?
Yeah.
All right.
Will comes back and he's like, hey, remember your brother? He's here. A little bit later, they're like, hey, your brother's missing. But then that gets resolved in one page.
Is he ever relevant? I don't really care about him.
Nate is relevant. Nate is relevant. The more he's talking and panicking, Tessa is having these inner realizations like, oh, he's a loser.
This guy stinks.
I don't know that it's ever revealed what age she was when he moved to London.
Okay.
But
she doesn't, they're not like tight.
He hadn't seen her in a while.
Yeah.
So she's realizing that her memories of him of when she was a little bit younger and really adored him. She's also remembering how she and her aunt really hid the consequences of his actions from him, like his gambling and all of that. His aunt took up a second job to pay off his debts, very much protecting him from...
And she was gonna move to be with him?
She had no other choice. She had no other family.
Okay.
So he was her only family, and she's a woman.
I guess fair, yeah.
He confirms that he didn't know she had her abilities until the Magister told him. Jessamine is still playing nurse, and Tessa is thinking to herself, if you're trying to get his attention by giving him all the special treatment, he's not going to notice, because he expects to be treated like this all the time. He was in debt from gambling, and while he was back in New York, and while he was looking for their dead mom's gold bracelet to sell to get money for his gambling debt, he found pages from their mom's diary that basically corroborated what his boss had told Charlotte and Henry about how the dad had worked in London and knew about this Pandemonium Club. So Nate was like, oh, I can use this information to blackmail this boss guy. So he writes him a letter being like, I know what you did to my dad, in hopes that he'd pay him for his silence, but instead of doing that, he's like, well, do you just want a job here?
And he was like, yeah?
Yeah, so Nate goes, but he was mostly interested in the idea of gambling at this Pandemonium Club, and that was just kind of like the beginning of the end and led to Tessa getting kidnapped and all of that. And Will is like, that's crazy that you essentially sold your sister to this man.
Yeah.
Because you lost all your money. He gave up Tessa's location.
Yeah.
To this man. He reveals too that the Dark Sisters, the women who had captured Tessa, that they plan to do that whole binding demon energy plan tonight on the full moon.
Oh, cool.
So they're all like, oh my god. So they all scramble. So Henry and Charlotte are like, okay, well, we gotta go with the clave to De Quincey's house, because De Quincey's the Magister.
Right.
So we gotta go interrupt what they're gonna do.
They said, we're gonna give this guy so many names, and none of them are gonna be good.
Right. So at this point, Henry and Charlotte are gone. The adults are gone, but everyone else has to stay behind because you become an adult in Shadowhunter land when you're 18, and since they're 17, they're not allowed to go.
But they're allowed to die for the cause? Okay.
I don't make the rules. So Nate's ex-boss, his name is Mortmain. Mortman. He's like, listen, I feel so bad for what happened to Nate. I want to make it up to you. I have information about the Dark Sisters and what they're going to do tonight, because remember how Will killed one of them. He's like, well, they're doing necromancy to bring her back. Even if the clave managed to kill De Quincey and all his people, the Dark Sisters are going to do the spell regardless.
Shit.
So Will and Jem are like, well, we've got to go check that out.
Yeah.
They leave. Before leaving, Jem kisses Tessa's hand goodbye, and she looks over at Will, and he's by the carriage, motionless as a statue, his face upturned at the foot of the steps. But then Tessa is like, maybe I hallucinated that, because as soon as Jem goes to him, Will becomes normal again.
Okay. Is she into the hand kiss?
The only feeling that she notes is just shock. Like, oh, why is he doing that?
Okay, so she really is not attracted to this man.
She's just like, oh, this is interesting.
Famously a really good thought and feeling to have.
So pretty much as soon as they leave, the door to the Institute opens. And who is it but the automaton that had gotten Jem's blood all over his hands? Because remember, the blood of a shadow hunter can open the doors.
Wow.
And so an entire,
I think that would be a bigger problem in this universe of them killing or taking Shadowhunter's blood to get in places. Do you think it would? I think it would have already come up.
I think it's more so just that it's like a closely guarded secret.
Okay.
I don't think that everyone knows that.
Well, they do
that
now.
You could just get the blood on your hands.
Yeah.
A whole Clockwork army comes in. At this point, there's a lot of back and forth, and I'm going to try to keep it because we've got people in different locations.
Okay.
So we leave Tessa after the army comes in. Cut to Will and Jem, who are now at this mansion where they were told by Mortman that the Dark Sisters are going to be. Will is happily reminiscing about Tessa because he's thinking about when he rescued her and how she was so brave and so this and so that.
Okay.
And they're just kind of putzing around, but it really takes them way too long to be like, why is it empty? Like,
because they're both thinking about this goddamn girl.
It really, well, like, Jem isn't. They're just chit-chatting. So the Dark Sisters are there, but Mrs. Dark, because Mrs. Black is the one who Will had killed, she's like, I'm very confused why you guys are here. And they were like, well...
To stop you.
Yeah. And she was like, sorry, am I not allowed to bring my sister back? There's a really dramatic moment where she goes, do you know what it's like to be entirely alone? And Will goes, more than you can ever imagine.
Shut up! Your butt tie is right there! You don't even know!
And Jem just kind of looks at him like, what does that mean? And Will...
Right, Jem's like, what am I? Chopped liver? Jesus.
And Will thinks to himself, I shouldn't say such things.
I shouldn't say such things.
So Jem is like, but you're gonna do the demon binding thing, which isn't allowed, and the Magister De Quincey can't do that. And she's like, one, that's not what I'm doing here. I'm literally just trying to bring back my sister, my companion. Number two, you guys are idiots because De Quincey isn't the Magister.
Oh my god.
But she won't tell them who is. She reveals that she's a demon and her sister was a warlock.
Okay.
She was a shape changer demon, but the Magister didn't want her. He wanted Tessa.
Okay, so she's kind of like a little... But wait, how does that work that her sister and her aren't the same thing?
I don't know what sister means to her. I think maybe they have the same demon dad kind of thing.
Got it. Oh, right, because the warlock. Okay.
Yeah. Mrs. Dark tries to kill them because they're not in the Magister's good graces because Tessa got away. So she's like, maybe if I kill you guys, he'll like me. But then they kill her by cutting the chandelier down.
Oh, and it lands. Okay.
And
very
then
Phantom.
It finally clicks with them that they've been tricked. And they're like, oh my god, we gotta go back. So we cut back to the Institute with Tessa and also the servant Sophie is there and Jessamine. And who walks in? Mortman.
Oh my god.
The boss. He walks in. Nate is also there, and he immediately kneels. And he says it was only ever my desire to serve you, Magister.
No, betrayer!
Right. Tessa is like, Nate, what the fuck? But he does not give a fuck about her. He's
he
like
doesn't give a fuck about her.
openly disgusted by her.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and Mortman reveals that it was Nate's idea to get Mortman to stop by and make up the Dark Sister story to get Will and Jem out of the house, because Nate didn't know that Will and Jem wouldn't also be going with Charlotte and Henry. So they were like, well, we gotta get him out of the house. So chaos kind of ensues. Tessa's getting choked out by an automaton, even though Mortman was like, hey, stop choking her. So this whole time...
So they don't really listen to him.
No. So the book is called Clockwork Angel, and that is after this necklace that she wears all the time. It was her mom's. She says that the pendant is as big as her pinky. I feel like that's low-key big.
That's big. Especially an angel shape, not just a little bar, but in the shape of an angel.
So she wears it all the time, and it's just one of those things that it hasn't really been relevant until now, which is why I haven't brought it up.
Okay.
The Clockwork Angel in her necklace, as she's getting choked out by the automaton, flies free from her necklace suddenly, spreads its wings, and kills the automaton. It has like little blades on its wings. And then it, like, flies away. And she's like, well,
bye. Okay.
Tessa and Sophie then escape to the sanctuary. They get all the way to the sanctuary, and Sophie's like, the key. Let me go get it. Let me go get the key. Oh. So while she's gone, obviously Nate shows up.
Yeah.
Obviously. He is so lost in the sauce. He's like, my master this, my master's that. De Quincey tortured me because you ran away. So this was all your fault.
Okay.
And he's also like, yeah, I let them believe that De Quincey was the Magister because also we kind of wanted him gone anyway. So,
but is De Quincey gone?
Yeah. Henry and Charlotte and the Clave are off doing right now.
Okay, but we don't know for sure that they've succeeded.
At this point in time, no, but they are going to.
Okay.
But they haven't returned from that mission. But that was their mission goal. He gives the real rundown of the events that led to him coming to London and what happened. Mortman asked Nate to give Tessa to him and said that if Tessa truly was what he thought she was, then he would make Nate his disciple.
Okay. That doesn't sound like a super high up
right. He's convinced that
Mortman
is gonna rule the British Empire and he'll get to be his right hand man.
I don't think that's what disciple means, King.
So Tessa is like, you're an idiot, and also our aunt and I always knew you were an idiot.
He's ugly, maybe.
Famously, no. Famously, he's actually really beautiful.
Okay.
You're an idiot, on the inside. And our aunt and I always knew it, and he's like, well, that's fine, I killed her. He killed her by sending her a poisoned box of chocolates because he knew that Tessa doesn't like chocolate.
Okay.
And he wraps up his little spiel by saying that once he found out that she wasn't human, that she was dead to him. He's like, I don't have a sister anymore. My sister is dead. During all of this, Jessamine knocks him out. Sophie's got the key.
Shout out. Okay.
They all go in the sanctuary. Will, at this point, Will and Jem, but Will went ahead of Jem, have been on their way back to the mansion. During all of this,
Will go ahead of Jem?
Throughout various situations, it's just pretty much agreed upon that Will is healthier than Jem.
So he goes fast.
So Will is better equipped to kind of do things.
So he just like leaves Jem.
Mm-hmm. And well, Jem has another horse with the carriage. But yeah. So they hear Will knocking on the sanctuary door, and Jessamine opens it, but sure enough, it was Mortman imitating Will.
Just like a random human man doing like a human impression.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm just really good at like just like impersonating people.
Hey, it's Will.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And they're like, Jessamine, don't open the door. We don't think it's Will. And she's like, no, it definitely is. And it wasn't. It was him.
Does he kill her?
No. So he sends Nate to the weapons room, and he takes the creatures, and he's like, go take Jessamine and Sophie away, because I want to be with Tessa. So now we are Tessa, and we're alone with Mortman. He's being super creepy. He's like, I had hoped our first time alone together would be a more pleasant experience for us both.
Ew.
Remember, she was tied to the bed.
Yeah.
So he gives her...
Is he old? Like, what's this man's deal?
She says that he's in his 40s. Yeah. He gives her a watch with some initials carved into it and is like, I want to meet this person again. Can you change into this person? And he keeps being like, if it weren't for me, you wouldn't exist, etc., etc. She is finally like, if you don't get away from me, I'm going to myself. She takes a knife and like pulls it to her chest, and she's like, I'm going to kill myself.
Okay.
So then we cut to real Will, who now has arrived at the Institute for real.
Okay.
He sees that not only has the cook died, but also another servant who he really liked, and he was like, damn, that's really sad. Jem also arrives, and he's thinking about Tessa, and he's like, she was worried about me.
Will or Jem?
Jem. We're in his head a little bit.
We're
He's
in
like,
Jem's head.
oh my god, she was worried about me. But then he...
And everyone's dead, and he's like,
I know.
Tessa.
I know, but then he locks back in because he sees Nate with Justine and Sophie. Nate is holding this magic box that holds demon energies, so they're going to use that box to do that thing.
Put the people back.
Charlotte and Henry come back from, and they did manage to kill De Quincey and all of that, but then they fill them in and they're like, here's what's actually happened. And they were like, oh my god, De Quincey wasn't lying. So then we cut back to Tessa, who is alone with Mortman, and he confirms that she's a warlock, but all he says is, I suppose that that's the best word.
Okay.
Because one thing that Tessa has been struggling to grapple with is she's like, I just don't believe that my mom would cheat on my dad.
Okay.
Because she would have had to sleep with a demon. And Mortman reveals that the demon that her mom slept with was posing as her father.
Right, because that makes sense.
He was like,
she
didn't know that she had done that. And he says that her conception had been planned, like even before he even entered the picture. And he starts being really creepy again about overseeing the creation of something that would belong to him.
Ew.
He starts taunting her, being like, you're not gonna kill yourself, you're a delicate female, it's not in your nature. She remembers the Boadicea thing, drives the knife into her chest.
Sure.
Right as she falls, now we're in Will's POV, right as she falls, Will walks into the sanctuary, and he thinks that Mortman her.
Okay.
He's obviously devastated. He's thinking to himself, I have lost everything, right?
They've kissed like once at this point, right?
Mortman says, no, she did this to herself. And then he vanishes into thin air before Will can kill him. And Will's like, that's kind of crazy that he can do that. Like, he's a mundane. So he's holding Tessa. He's thinking about the attic when they made out, and he's also thinking while holding her about how he can hold her close to him because it didn't matter now what he did. While he's holding her, he realizes that she has a pulse. She's like, no, I didn't myself. I shifted into a woman that I had shifted into during training who had died of a gunshot wound. And when she had shifted into this woman, blood came out on her dress.
Yeah.
So she shifted just long enough for the blood, but then shifting did make her pass out. She was like, you telling me about Boadicea inspired me.
Okay.
In this moment, Will is too relieved to put on his act again, that at this point we're now starting to be like something,
the charade
is maybe an act.
Yeah.
He thinks to himself, the color had come back into the world, he could breathe again. And then he realizes that he's looking at her in a way, and she's looking back at him in a way, and she's like, say something. And he once again has a dramatic moment where he thinks there was only emptiness as there had been before her, as there would always be. I have lost everything.
Again? Now that she's alive? Okay.
A little bit later, Tessa is talking to the Inquisitor, which he's the head judge. She's just kind of giving him the rundown of everything that happened. They're really interested in the watch that Mortman had held out to her, being like, can you change into this person? She doesn't know. There were some initials on it, and she's like, I don't know who those belong to. No one really did. Will is acting really standoffish again. Tessa has been like, he won't look at me, and I'm just very confused because of our exchange in the sanctuary. Yeah. So she's like, did I hallucinate that? Charlotte is like, Tessa, you can continue to stay here. You have nowhere to go. Also, Charlotte at this point is kind of under scrutiny for fucking things up because she should have maybe just not taken their word for it that De Quincey was a magister. And she's like, honestly, having an alliance with a downworlder could kind of help my case. So Tessa is excited that she's gonna get to stay, and she goes to find Will on the roof, and he's having another emo boy moment. He's quoting Paradise Lost and just feeling really sad. Some of the servants that had gotten killed, he was really close to.
It's like my friends.
And he was sad that he and Jem had gotten tricked into leaving. And she tells Will that she's staying. She's like, I thought we were friends. I thought you'd be happy. I kind of thought we were maybe starting to be something. Yeah. So he kisses her.
Okay.
But then he starts being like, we're gonna have to discuss arrangements and make sure we're discreet. And she's really confused, and he continues being like, shadow hunters and warlocks can't be together, so like, what else did you think was gonna happen. Like, we're gonna get married.
Okay.
He's being really awful. He says, you cannot have imagined I meant anything more. I don't know what your issue is with having this setup. It's not like warlocks can even have kids anyway.
Oh my god. Okay.
And Tessa is like, okay, I can tell that you're being mean on purpose. I don't know why you're doing this, but I can tell that you're doing this just to hurt my feelings.
Not the infertility.
So then
insult.
she confirms this information in her guidebook.
Not her little guidebook.
And she's kind of crashing out over it a little bit, but Jem is like, you don't even know for sure if you're a warlock.
Right.
So there's really no point in, like...
Okay, so Jem is still by her side, being bestie.
Yeah, and she's like...
Does he know that she and Will...
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
And Jem also doesn't really clock any of the tension between Will and Tessa, even though everyone else in the house does. Jessamine and Sophie both separately talk to Tessa about it, but Jem is just like, we're all besties. And now it's our epilogue.
Okay.
We are now in Magnus Bane's point of view.
Oh my god, Magnus.
Will has shown up soaking wet, clearly extremely emotionally going through it, begging for help, and says there's nobody else he can ask.
Shown up where?
To Magnus Bane's house.
Okay. He's just like rocked up in the rain. Okay. And that's our that's our last shot.
That is it.
Wow, so he really says, fuck you, you infertile bitch.
He was
I'm not
just
gonna
like,
marry you.
He's
and
just
then...
like, I don't know why you're upset at the idea of us sleeping together. It's not like we're not gonna accidentally get pregnant.
Oh, that's why she's offended. Okay. I thought he was being like, well, I'm not gonna marry you. You can't even have kids.
He was also that. He was like, what did you think, that I was gonna marry you and we were gonna have a happily ever after kind of thing?
What if she wants to be child-free?
Yeah, she was just kind of like, I've never really thought about it before. Well, I'm 17.
Women had one option, and it was to get married at like 18.
Yeah, so that's the end of book 1.
Okay.
What are your thoughts?
A lot of characters to keep track of. I'm confused about how it's going to be a love triangle if she doesn't really like Jem. But I'm wondering if you, because of your biases towards Will, are leaving out maybe some more romantic moments between her and Jem.
I promise I'm not. It is really like all of the scenes where he starts to do stuff, she's just like, well, that's bestie Jem. She's like, I don't understand.
No.
I don't understand why he's like...
She's not attracted to
kissing
him.
my hand. No, I'm actually really excited to do book 2 because I have so much to say about it and you're gonna freak out.
Okay. I do love when a book ends with the love and I love in a series that they're not just together, because I get really bored when the love interests finally get together for real and there's no conflict keeping them apart. It just gets so boring. Every time you said Tessa, I flinched. Really, if you guys haven't watched the After movies, please check them out. I love them so much. And that name's ruined forever for me. I'm so sorry.
I know, Hardin and Tessa.
At least Jem as a name is like fine.
Yeah, Jem for James.
Oh.
Like his full name is James and they call him Jem.
Okay, why wouldn't they just call him James?
They do sometimes, but not all the time.
Okay, I maybe hate it more actually. That makes me not like it. And Will is like fine. Honestly, whenever
Will Herondale.
Which
I can't believe that you have navigated your life without ever hearing about Will Herondale. Like,
Never.
even just no one ever mentioning it.
No. The only thing I vaguely know about the Mortal Instruments movie is that it's Jamie Kimmel Bower.
Yes.
Who I know first and foremost from the Twilight franchise. And then I think he's also in Harry Potter. Ooh, sorry to mention Harry Potter again on the pod.
I don't know.
Isn't he in it?
Probably. I feel like every British actor was in that movie.
Is he magical in the Mortal Instruments? I don't know. I don't want to know about him.
He's a shadow hunter.
Well, so only kind of then. So, and his name is Jace?
His first name Jace, last name will not reveal.
Okay, it wouldn't mean anything to me anyway. But I know about him. He's the only one from the franchise that I know about. Mm-hmm. And obviously I know that Lily Collins is in the movies because I'm kind of a Lily Collins hater, which I think you're maybe a defender, which is crazy.
I'm a defender of her as Clary, which is the main character in the Mortal Instruments. I think that she's perfect. There's a show version too. That I saw that
also got canceled after 2 seasons, right?
No, I think it had a few seasons.
But then it got canceled too soon. Because I remember being like, oh, maybe I'll watch this.
I tried watching it. It was bad. Bad in a way that wasn't even fun. And then they started going away from the books.
Why do they do that? Why do that when the books are, like, finished enough,
And there's
too?
so much world building. It's all there. So I don't know why they would do that.
Never mind. Yeah. It's not like Game of Thrones where they were like, fuck, we need a last season.
Yeah, we're like, all the books weren't done. No.
Excited to get into it. Is there more kissing in book 2?
There is.
Cool.
In book 3.
Okay. See, I think for me to read these now, I'd be like, there's not enough romance to get me through all of this world building.
Book 2 and book 3 have a decent amount of romance.
Are the boys ever gonna kiss?
No.
I just feel like they should try it once.
No,
just once.
But I promise it'll be fine.
Okay.
I promise.
I believe you. We'll be back. We'll be back with book 2.
We'll be back with book 2. Thanks so much for everyone who has stuck around for however long this ends up being. We have been recording for 2 hours and 25 minutes. Thanks for sticking around. Well, let us all see you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.